to Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist, your not so typical self-help podcast for therapists, healers, and helpers. I'm your host, Shauna Lovin, a seasoned therapist with a rebellious spirit. This season, we are redefining freedom, fulfillment, and stability without burning out, self-doubt, or playing by the rules of a broken system. We are cutting through the noise and exploring what it means to truly live life on your terms, not by what society expects of us. No more chasing an illusion of success that leaves you drained, because we are embracing the beautiful messiness, the sometimes chaotic journey we call life. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's dive in. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist. Okay, I have a little secret today. Well, it's maybe not a little secret, but if you didn't know, I quit being a therapist. Let me explain. So this was the hardest thing for me to say to myself. When I first said those words out loud, I felt like there were shards of glass coming down my throat. Lord. And I knew that they had landed. I knew those words were in me. For many, it sounds like I gave up or that I was giving up. It sounds like I was a failure, like betrayal, like burnt out had finally won. But for me, it was a form of liberation. I didn't start my practice the way most people think. My first clients weren't clients. They were actually associates. Well, back then we called them interns. Supervision was my beginning. It was about tending to those seeds and not just symptoms, trying to help newer therapists grow in their craft because there were things that I missed that I didn't want people behind me to miss. And that's where I started. That's where my journey began. But then COVID hit and the world changed. The world opened up. The world closed down. There was a lot of things that came out of that. People say that they hate COVID, but I think it showed where mental health sits for a lot of people. And I think that was a good thing because people wanted help. People needed help at that time. People needed it fast, raw, and unfiltered. They needed it. So what did I do like many of us did? I stepped up. I started offering sessions to actual clients and I held space. But behind the scenes, oh Lord, I was just floating. I didn't know what the hell I was doing or what I was thinking, because even though I had been working with clients in different capacities, being in therapy was very different. And I didn't know. My body was present, but my mind really was elsewhere. Words would come out of my mouth while my nervous system was whispering, "Get out." Not because I didn't care, but because I did care so much that it just broke me a little by little to keep pretending that I could just do this in a way that didn't cost me my own aliveness. But let's be real. Therapists are trained to hold, contain, track, and attune, but not to feel, not to be felt, not to stay in the room with themselves when the system that they work inside of is the very thing that's draining the life out of them. I could teach you boundaries in my sleep, polyvagal therapy, part works, breath work, all of it, somatic practices, clinical applications, whatever. But I couldn't feel safe in my own body. I couldn't stop secretly disassociating in my sessions. I was performing in presence again. I was chasing competence while I was quietly unraveling. The thing is that I felt ashamed. Like after everything I had invested, the time, the money, and the damn identity of all of it, how could I even consider leaving? This wasn't just a career, it was a calling, or at least so I thought. What I didn't know then is that I was mistaking conditioning for a calling. The things that I was doing were the same things that they taught us to do, and how to move, how to operate, how to run a practice, how to do this, how to be more textbooky. That's what I was doing. The thing that people don't want to hear is I wasn't just burnt out. It was some level of misalignment on top of being burnt out. It was the white knuckling through client sessions when your gut is telling you to just walk away. I had the Sunday scary sometimes on 10. It's that heavy. It was nauseous feeling in the belly right before the calendar opens up at the beginning of the week. It was starting at, or staring at my screen after working with these clients and helping people that I didn't even know how to help myself. It was just more than exhausting. This was my nervous system like waving red flags, and I didn't even realize that at the time. And if you know that I'm a projector, and I know I talk about human design a lot, but we as projectors are not built to carry that kind of energy. We are not built to hustle. We are not built for that. We are here to guide. But no one teaches us how to read your own internal cues when the external metrics are all you know how to measure things by. There wasn't a single moment that I quit therapy. There were hundreds, actually. Think of like 100 little deaths, 100 silent exits. I grieved the version of me that wanted this so badly to be this amazing therapist and helping others. But I felt betrayed by my education that I paid for. Not because it was bad, but because it was incomplete. And I kept trying with logic and trying to figure out, or using logic to my way to into clarity. But clarity doesn't live in your head. It's buried in your gut. And my gut happened to be just screaming, not with fear, but with the truth. So I left. Not because it made sense on paper, because it sure didn't, but because I was making a frequency shift. At the time, I didn't know that was a frequency shift, but I just knew in my body that something needed to change, something needed to be different. I couldn't keep aligning my life with what I was trained for when my soul was asking me to do something completely different. Burnout wasn't the end. It was actually just the invitation. It was the rapture. It was the rebellion. I didn't need to fix myself. I needed to unhook from the performance of healing, to stop managing my symptoms and start inhabiting my life and showing up in my life and being present in my life. That meant learning to live by my human design. I talk about that all the time. It's probably one of the most single things that has helped me the most, is living according to my design, because I stopped chasing energy that I didn't have, that wasn't meant for me. Instead, I started to wait for the invitations that align with my truth. It meant listening to my emotional authority, not overriding it because it wasn't evidence-based. It meant getting out of my head and back into my body. Not through some 10-step freaking protocol, but through presence, through slowness, stillness, some level of sovereignty. So yeah, I quit being a therapist, not because I stopped crying or stopped caring. It was because I finally started listening to my body, to my gut, to my grief, to the part of me that knew there was more. And now I guide other therapists and healers, the ones who are done performing and healing, back into your body, back into alignment, into the truth of who you want to be or who you were before all the clinical stuff came into play. You don't have to blow it up like I did, but you have to choose resonance over reputation. You do have to decide, are you here to survive in the system? Because the system ain't it. Or are you here to build something that actually reflects your frequency? And that's what I did. I quit being a therapist so that I could build what is part of my frequency. So if you are feeling like this unraveling, your body's trying to whisper something to you, I'm just going to let you know that you are not broken. You're just being called to something deeper, something bigger, something better. And I'm going to encourage you, let this be your frequency shift. I hope this was helpful for someone. Till next time. There you have it, my friends. Another episode in the books. Remember, it's okay to be a hot mess sometimes. It's all a part of the journey we call life. Until next time, stay rebellious, stay authentic, and keep embracing the beautiful messiness of life. Want to learn more about your unique energetic blueprint? Make sure you download your free chart and learn how it can help you make choices that are aligned with who you are and not who society expects you to be. Please visit ShaunaLovinLPCS.com for more information. Anything mentioned in today's episode will be linked in the show notes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe, you share with a friend, leave a review, and keep coming back for more.